What is up, you guys, and welcome to the Instagram channel. First off, I'd like to apologize for my lack of uploads lately because I've been really busy. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see the reason, and if not, it's just because I've had so much to do with uni, and hopefully that's over now, so I should be back to uploading somewhat regularly at this point. Now onto this podcast. I've got a special guest with me today, DPHD. You might recognize him from our previous podcast.
Yo guys, as the Instagram pointed out, it's DPHD here. I do video compilations about Messi, Barcelona, and I'm getting into doing podcasts as well and these type of commentary videos. So if you can, be sure to check me out and subscribe.
Yeah, drop him a subscribe, guys. Drop him a follow on Twitter. I'll have everything for him down in the description below because he really is one of the better channels on here, so he deserves that. So
thanks, man.
Yeah, no problem. First off, the game yesterday was against Spurs, and it ended 1-1 with Dembélé starting it off really well. And you can't say he was late this time.
No, you can't. Unless, as I tweeted out, the goal created a loud noise in the crowd which disturbed the locals of Barcelona. I don't think there's much to complain about.
That's absolutely unacceptable, even that.
Yeah. I mean, the fact he would actually score a goal is...
How dare he, man? People are sleeping.
It's shameful.
It is. Alright.
No, man, but
yeah.
I didn't actually get to watch the second half, but I did watch his goal, and I did watch the highlights of the first half, and he was just electric.
Yeah, he was really good. And I think he's gotten to the point now where he really wants to succeed. I did not report on this. I don't think I did. I'm not too sure. No, actually I did. But apparently he had talked to the members, the club. He talked to the players and apologized to them for coming late. And it's like, I'm not going to be late anymore. And they accepted his apology. So it seems like he's getting in to what it means to be a Barcelona player. Because I've heard plenty of our legends say that, you know, he needs to realize where he is.
Yeah.
And it definitely seems like he is realizing that now.
I just feel like he's just establishing himself slowly but surely into the club. You're seeing it as well, the progression of an improvement of his performances. He's just getting into the flow of Barcelona, and I think if that apology, I didn't hear about it, but I'm sure it's true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's true. Yeah,
and that just, you know, it reinforces it further. I think he's just really becoming like a part of the squad now. So it's good to see.
Yeah, I mean, I did not personally notice it, but I saw someone tweet out that he apparently instructed Semedo where to pass the ball and tried to help out Alenia as well.
Yeah.
So it really seems like he's being integrated into the squad. Even like with his celebration, you can see that he's not an outcast at this team, which I think is really important for a player of his quality, and also considering the fact that he's not the Barca DNA type of player. He's not the quick 1-2 guy, the passer. He's more of a dribbler. He's more of a direct, I'll go on this solo run myself kind of guy.
Yeah.
And I think for him to establish himself now, after all the backlash he's been given through the media, after everything that's been talked about him, even by international teammates and by former club legends and stuff, I think it's really good that he's actually, you know, doing his part now. It seems like he's really owning up to his responsibility.
Definitely. And I think, going back to the Barca DNA, I think we're really seeing as fans and everyone else what we were missing in terms of that quick player that injects pace and sort of electrifies the game. Because we look back at Neymar, and say what you want about him, he did bring that something to the game where he brought pace. Suarez is obviously getting slower. Messi, obviously, he's getting older. We don't have that much pace in the attack as we did. So just to see, you know, Dembélé come in with that pace, those dribbles, etc., it's just good to see.
Yeah, I agree, and especially when you really think about going back to Neymar, for me, and I don't care what anybody says, he is the second best player in the world. There is no debate for me. He's better than Cristiano Ronaldo, he's better than Griezmann, he's better than everyone else except for Messi. And, yeah.
at the moment, I would agree, to be honest. I mean, yeah, I mean, we can be salty and we can be upset about the fact he left us, and he did leave us in not so good a way, but I think we do have to face the facts that he is a top player.
Definitely, and I think this might be speculation, but when you really think about it, I think the reason that Barca fans were so upset, myself included, when he left, wasn't because of the way he left as much as it was because we're losing the second best player in the world. You know, because when you really think about it, the things he gave Barcelona, like in terms of play. Now, obviously, you can say all you want about Luis Enrique not being the best manager and possibly not getting the most out of the entire team and relying too much on the front three. But when you really think about it, when you have a front three like that, when you have a player like Neymar who adds so much to your squad in terms of how he is a player, I think Dembélé can be just as important for us, and I think even better, because he doesn't. Yes, he has some attitude issues, but that's mainly because he's young. He's still 21 years old, and the reasons that Neymar had the attitude problems wasn't because of his youth, as much as it was because of his priorities. He would literally not meet up for a match to go see his sister in Brazil for her birthday or for whatever. And that's where I think Dembélé has an advantage, because he's not doing that. It's not like he's prioritizing. He's not putting something over football.
Exactly.
As much as he's just not realizing he's at Barcelona, which he's slowly realizing now.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it in one of the other podcasts, but it's literally, look, the guy's young, he's just come, and he's already establishing himself.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, he did have attitude problems, obviously. I mean, it's hard to expect someone of his age to not have attitude problems, because we've got to remember, this guy hasn't come out of our academy. He's not used to us.
Yeah.
And that
definitely
can take a lot of getting used to.
Yeah, I mean, you see so many really good players, and as much as people might stand on me for this, Andre Gomes is a really good footballer, but he just didn't fit in at Barcelona. That was not due to attitude problems. That was because he wasn't, I wouldn't say weak mentally, but not as strong as you need to be when you're not performing for Barcelona.
Yeah, there's a real pressure, and I mean, it can just feel, it can feel sometimes like the weight of the world is sort of on your shoulders. As corny as it may sound, it's true, because I don't know, you just need to, like, a lot of these guys have just been in it since they were 13, even younger, so it is hard to establish yourself, to make a name for yourself. But I feel like Dembele's getting there. I feel like he is.
Yeah, I think also, just to go back to Dembélé real quick, I think one of the things that people forget is that when he moved to Barcelona, and correct me if I'm mistaken, I believe it was his third professional season. Because he started at Stade Rennes in France, and then he started at Rennes in France, and then he moved to Dortmund. This season, one professional season into his career.
I'm pretty sure. I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So, I don't think it's unusual for him to have attitude problems. Not just because he's young, but because he's not. Like, he's been a professional footballer for what, 3-4 years?
Yeah.
And he hasn't really been in that system, like, you know, as you said, La Masia, or an academy like that, like, working with football since he was young. And that really makes a difference.
Exactly.
But the thing is, as well, is that when you look at a player like Malcolm, who seems much more mature, and I'm not going to blame Dembélé for that, but I think it's because of how Malcolm is as a person, and his backstory just makes him, you know, be more mature, and you can't really blame Dembélé for that.
Exactly.
You know,
everyone has different experiences, and
obviously, yeah.
I to be honest, when I do look at Dembélé, he does mean business at the end of the day, because if he didn't, then, you know, he wouldn't be in the situations and the positions and the goal scoring manners that he is. So, of course,
he wouldn't be starting either.
Yeah,
if he really.
And I really do think we need to treat, like, the media need to back off a bit, give him a bit of space, because if anyone, you know, obviously we have Messi, and that is the main reason we would ever consider winning a Champions League, but Dembele is such a boost. If we did not have Dembele, I'm not sure if I could think about a Champions League.
Yeah, he could be so vital for us.
He feels like a really clutch player as well. I mean, you can't always rely on Messi 24/7.
Exactly, and I think speaking of Messi and speaking of a lot of playing time, Messi can't always play 90 minutes. That's not because he doesn't want to, but physically you can't play a player for 90 minutes for 30 plus games in the league, and let's say around 12 Champions League games and Copa del Rey. So he needs a rest, and you need someone to be able to step up. And we do have Coutinho, but as I believe we touched on in our last podcast, I love that guy so much, and he's such a good player. But the way he's being pushed into this Barcelona side is not the way he should be pushed into it.
Yeah.
He doesn't fit our system as well as he should, and I don't think that's as much on him.
Yeah.
I think that's a managerial decision. And I saw someone saying that, here's why playing him at the center in the midfield would be an absolutely idiotic decision to make. And it's like, well, when you look at the way we're playing, and you look at how he's done in the midfield compared to the wing, if he stays on that wing, he'll just become a Rakitic 2.0, as much as it hurts me to say. And I was thinking of this yesterday when I was watching the game. When you see him, he's lost his confidence, man.
He has.
Like, he doesn't... I don't know if you realized... I don't know if you noticed it in the second half, but he never took on a player. Unless he had a lot of space, he would go in centrally. But when he was on the wing, he did not try even one take on and a cross like Dembélé does.
Yeah, so pretty much it's for me personally, it's quite sad to see, because we saw it with Dembélé, and this is something I tweeted out as well, was that be careful to call out Dembélé so soon, because you did the same thing to Dembélé and he's shutting haters down right now. So
you mean Coutinho, right?
No, what I mean is Dembélé did that, and Coutinho will do the same thing.
Oh,
so
yeah, I meant you said don't call out Dembélé because he did the same thing to Dembélé. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
so that's what I meant. So pretty much, it's going along the lines of Coutinho is one of the most talented players in the world. Definitely. I think.
Yeah.
So we just need to, I think, give him time. I'm not sure about Valverde's tactics when approaching him, because with Coutinho, he almost seems to just try and cut inside as much as possible and do the same type shot. Yeah. Which is deadly, I'll admit, but he needs to have a bit more to his position than just that as a threat, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he needs to have a plan B. So Coutinho needs to have his plan B, because as you were saying, he often he has that trademark move where he just cuts in and fires a shot. And I think a lot of that comes down to how he's positioned, because as we saw on that left wing, he's very isolated. He decides to always pass back to the fullback, at least yesterday. And although he was getting into good positions at times and having good shots, but I genuinely think, and I really don't care what anyone says, he's better for us as a midfielder than he is as a winger, because as a midfielder, he's able to create the play with the rest of our midfielders. He's able to make those 1-2s, give through balls, and take long shots. And he's able to pick up his confidence, because yes, he might have some flaws and he might go too far up, which makes us lack defensively. But I genuinely think that if we can have someone to cover for his flaws, I think he could be really good for us as a central midfielder, as a left central midfielder, as a player operating at those left half spaces, because that's where he essentially is at his best.
Yeah, I'm to be honest, I would agree with that. I mean, at left wing, I think ultimately we have to look at Coutinho. He is more of an attacking player, I would say. However, his creativity, it just warrants a place for him in the midfield, and he just offers more at Barcelona in the midfield. So, as a question, what would be your perfect trio in midfield? Because for me, I'm thinking it would be Arthur, Busquets and Coutinho. And then if not, have Vidal play in some Champions League games when we need someone a bit energized.
Yeah, I would agree, because if we're talking about a balanced midfield, you have Arthur who can. Well, he used to play as that double pivot in Grêmio, so he's used to being like sort of go up and not go too far up, but not go too far down, kind of player. And I think that if you put him with Coutinho, who goes up a lot, and you have Busquets covering, I think that would be a perfect midfield. And as much as I'd love to include Vidal in a balanced trio, I think having him and then having Arthur and Busquets would not bring as much creativity. Nothing against Vidal, but he's a box-to-box midfielder.
Yeah.
And you kind of need someone who can go even further forward.
You
know,
I see what you mean. I think though, for games such as the Atletico one, we like some of them type of games. We just need some energy with Vidal.
Yeah, I was actually just about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree though. The balanced midfield would go Coutinho, Busquets, and Arthur.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's just go straight into the Q&As.
Sure.
And also, right as I'm getting the Q&As up, let's just talk really fast about potential transfers we think are going to happen in January, because that's a hot topic coming into January now.
Sure. Well, there's the whole thing about Rakitic. I don't think he's leaving in January, however.
No, I think he's leaving, and I've said that numerous times now. I think he is leaving, and I think he is leaving in the summer, because he had a lot of contract issues at the beginning of the season. It seemed like they couldn't reach an agreement because he seemingly wanted a higher salary, and to get an offer from PSG when you're almost 31 years old, getting to play in a new league, possibly with one of his best friends, Neymar, I don't think he'd turn that down if he got the chance again.
Yeah. I mean, I think though, if we're talking about the situation, I think it is the perfect season for Rakitic to leave.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah, especially with like Riqui Puig and Carasaleña on the come up, and Frenkie de Jong also possibly coming to Barcelona. It would pave the way for so many midfielders if he left. And also because he could be a starter at a club where it suits him more.
Yeah.
You know.
I've always said that. I mean, Rakitic is he is a world-class player.
Definitely.
So but like besides all the jokes and the trolling, etc., maybe he doesn't fit Barcelona as much nowadays, but he's still world-class. Like, he's a great player. So
yeah, definitely. He just doesn't fit our. It's not that he doesn't fit our system. It's that he doesn't fit our system to perfection, I think.
Yeah.
Because he plays well in our system, but in our system he just feels like, just that yet another player kind of player, which he's really not. As a player, he's a really good player. He could be a world-class player. We saw that with Croatia. And I'm pretty sure if he goes to a team where he can get more space when he's on the ball, perhaps a more direct team, I think he would shine. We even saw that against in the Copa del Rey match, where he got 3 assists. When you put him in a team or against a team that allows him space, he can be lethal. So I think it would be a perfect time for him to leave in the summer, not in January.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think so too.
All right, Q&As. We already answered the balanced trio, which I'm trying to figure out who tweeted that. I can't find it anymore, even though I'm pretty sure I saw it, but I can't find it. Anyway, shout out to who did that. Okay, if Valverde leaves, who should replace him? For me, Quique Setién, definitely, like no question. Obviously, I'd love Pep Guardiola back, but that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with you.
Setién.
I would agree with you. But I mean, if I could have anyone back, it would definitely be Pep.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he did say it wasn't too long ago that he would return one day.
Yeah, I remember hearing that as well. I'm not too sure of the legitimacy of it, but I'm pretty sure I heard him say that as well. I saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
The Coutinho situation, obviously, we've already addressed that. Who is the solution to Barcelona's lack of creativity in the midfield? Shout out to my boy Griffin.
Shout out, man.
Coutinho, man. Coutinho is our solution. Because if you put him in there, he's a creative player. He might not have done as well in midfield as some people would have wanted him to. But let's be, he hasn't really gotten to play even half a season as a midfielder. If I recall correctly, correct me if I'm wrong. But he has not played even half of a season, like fully half a season as a midfielder. You can't expect him to adapt straight away.
Yeah. I agree.
So for me, it's definitely Coutinho.
I think if we look back at Xavi, Iniesta,
yeah,
I think the more creative one would be Iniesta.
Definitely.
So and when I do look at Coutinho, I think he just reminds me more of that kind of style, you know, creating different types of passes in and out of spell. You know, when he's really on form, I think he really is the answer to creativity. And when he does link up with Messi really well sometimes.
Yeah, I fully agree.
We all know how creative he is. So I think it's Coutinho.
Yeah, man, I think so too. And you know, again, when you look at, you know, just imagine we could actually have something that's at least reminiscent of a Xavi Iniesta duo if we had Coutinho and Arthur in midfield.
Yeah, I was thinking.
And also, speaking of Iniesta, he played left wing at times, right? But he didn't really. He was better in midfield than he was on the wing. You know, so I think it's the same case with Coutinho. Really, is that he just isn't. He doesn't have the capabilities to play as an out and out winger, and you need to have him in midfield. I just think that's the answer. As much as he might have some flaws defensively, or his pushing forward makes us suffer defensively, if you can find someone to cover up, maybe someone like Arthur, if that is an option, I think he could definitely be the solution for us.
For sure, man.
Preferred mid for Barca for next season, by Apple Fusion. Shout out, man. He's supported me since day one, so thank you for that.
Shout out to you, man.
And now, if he's talking midfield, we kind of went over it. If he's talking who to get, I would say De Jong. And I've said this before. For me, it's either we get De Jong or we don't get any midfielder, because we don't need any midfielder right now. If you get my point, De Jong is one for the future. Not as much as he's, like, we can do with him in the future, but obviously the faster we get him, the better, because we've secured him at that point. Yeah. But I don't know. What are you thinking?
I mean, the question, read it again quickly for me.
Yeah, sure. Preferred mid for Barca for next season.
Okay, for next. So obviously there's two ways of interpreting that. I think with the De Jong thing, obviously if I could get any midfielder to Barca realistically for transfer would be him. If you're talking about the current state of our midfield, I really think when I look at it, I think Arthur is really someone that we've needed, someone controlling, who can control the tempo of the game. So yeah, I would have to say those two.
Yeah, that's you, man, and I agree. Okay, so two very interesting questions and then a fun one. So let's get the fun one out of the way. It's by Griezmann Chief, aka Jesse.
My God.
He says, okay, this is a difficult question and I've never asked this before, but if you had to choose between a baguette or a croissant, which one would you choose and why? I would choose croissants just because I've had them so often and they're so good. If it's a chocolate one, it's just on point. So that's what I would go with.
The thing is with baguettes is that if we go into baguettes are much more creative in the midfield. No, I'm joking. To be honest, I usually have baguettes way more, but croissants are they're just more of a treat. They're probably nicer.
True. That's true.
So yeah.
Fair.
I wonder how he comes up with these questions.
Yeah, I mean he's a baguette. No, he's a croissant kind of guy. I'm pretty sure because he uses that emoji a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, the two final questions. We'll go for the Barcelona one first. In terms of squad depth, and this is by Super Barca. So thank you for that, man. Shout out to you. I've noticed your support and I really appreciate it. Is this the best squad Barca have had in the recent years to push on and win the Champions League? Now, if we're talking about, sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
If we're talking about since we won the treble, yes. If we're talking about since we won the treble and up till now, I would definitely say this is the best squad we've had because it's the most complete squad. We have really good coverage in our defense with Longley being one of them. We have Vermaelen, who's experienced, and although he is very injury prone, he's a quality defender, despite his error yesterday. And we have a really good midfield, stacked but really good. We have a lot of depth in there. Our wings we have a lot of depth there. Coutinho, if we're talking from a FIFA point of view, can play there. If we're, we have Dembélé and Malcolm. You can even put Messi on the wing. You can put Munir on the wing. I'd say probably striker is the only position we really, really lack because we only have Suarez as an out-and-out striker, a number 9 that can run behind the defense, and obviously Ter Stegen and Silesen. So I would say yes, this is the best squad we've had in the recent years to push on and win the Champions League.
Yeah, I agree. I'm assuming by recent years, they're meaning that and shout out for the question. Since the last 3 years, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from it as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would definitely agree. I mean, first of all, Arthur, the introduction of him is just massively. He just gives you so much hope, just as a fan, just to watch him.
He really does.
Elenia coming through. Obviously, Ter Stegen is, he's in full prime. He's even though he's had a few errors, he's still great. He's a top world class keeper. One of the best.
The best for me, but yeah, I agree.
Obviously we have Messi, who I think has really, to be honest, when I look at him, he's very exciting this season.
He really is.
And you'd think from last season that he would have slowed down a bit, but there's something about his eagerness to win he really wants the Champions League, and I can see it. I can see it in the way he's just pushing so hard, and he's really eager. Obviously Dembélé, like, how could you not mention that is a great introduction for us. Electric, great player. I feel like Suarez has improved from last season.
Yeah, definitely. He also seems to be more like turned on, so to speak.
Yeah.
This season, he seems more
very alert.
Yeah,
alert.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so the midfield I think is improving definitely, and yeah, I just think it's a season to be hopeful for, if anything.
Yeah, I mean the only position I would say we might also lack in would be the left back position, because in the fullback positions, we obviously have Roberto and Samero challenging each other, which pushes them to always give their best. In the center backs, you have PK, Umtiti, Longley, Vermaelen, even Chumi coming in.
Yeah.
So I think, if anything, if we really are talking about where we really need to improve at the moment, it's definitely the left back position and the striker position. Also for long-term stuff.
Yeah.
Sick. So the last question before we end off here is, who do you think will be the winner of the World Cup 2022?
Interesting.
That's a really interesting question.
That's very interesting.
I can tell you definitely not Germany. And also shout out to my boy Czech the last Monday for this, man. I really enjoyed talking to you, and hopefully you'll change that layout soon. But yeah, that's a really interesting question to me, because I would say Argentina, and I think that's as an Argentina fan, I would say Argentina.
We're always hopeful, but
I mean, realistically speaking, I don't know, man.
I'd have to go for, I think France is one, because you have to think by then Dembélé would probably be in his prime.
Yeah,
Mbappe,
definitely.
I mean, their squad is quite insane on paper.
Yeah, it really is.
I actually, and call me crazy, I think England might have a chance,
I mean, I'll be honest, and as much as I like to joke around with England, and it's coming home, as everyone really joked about in this last World Cup, England has a lot of potential if we're talking about who they have as players. Like even Harry Winks, and I'll be honest, I wasn't like, oh, okay, he's not. To me, he didn't seem special, but he put in a really good performance yesterday. And not just him, but Callum Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea. So many players, youth players coming in. You know, you have Sterling as well. Harry Kane, obviously a top, class striker without a doubt.
They have a lot.
They have a lot of players, even in like midfield and defense, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek also.
Honestly, I'm gonna write off Brazil, Spain, and Germany.
Germany are not winning anything until at least 2026, and you can trash me for that. They're not winning anything, especially not with Joachim Löw in charge. There's just no way.
Yeah, I mean that Germany was quite embarrassing. We saw at the World Cup, but yeah, to be honest, my predictions are gonna be, if Messi is there, Argentina. And it's quite funny how we're predicting a team just off of one player. That's how good he is.
It really shows, man.
England and France, those are the three I'd say.
I think that's a fair one. Brazil's team is really interesting, but they don't have too many players where I'm like, these guys. I can't
see it working it out.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm not, like, I don't see their team and I go, ooh, this team can win the World Cup. You know, because, I like Everton and they have Richarlison from for Brazil, but you don't have that many players. Like, okay, Neymar, Coutinho, Richarlison, Firmino, if he's still alive by then, Gabi Jesus, that's like their forward line there with like some rotations. But in midfield, they don't exactly have like that many players where you're like, this team can beat any midfield. So for me, I'd probably say around the same. France, England. I don't know, call me crazy, but I think even Belgium have a shot if they keep going like this. And even I
feel like by that time that their team is gonna be a bit. And sorry to cut you off, I feel like by that time it's gonna be a bit too late.
I can see that. Yeah.
I feel like this was the tournament, the World Cup, this World Cup that went, which was their real last chance. Because if you look, Hazard is not getting any younger.
That's true. That's true.
I
think Netherlands could have a shot.
Could do. I
think they could have a shot. At least semi-finalists, because they have such a bright future, man. Like, they have they have really good. We even saw it right now. They have really good players, and if the players that are talents now in the future go to really like push up, I think they could. I actually think they do have a shot.
Sure.
All right, guys. I think that will end this one. Go subscribe to DPHD if you're not already. I'll leave everything for him down in the description below. Also, if you're new around here, if you've just heard our voices for the first time, make sure to subscribe and smash that like button if you enjoyed this video. Speaking of that, my next video will be on my predictions on the transfers in January and in the summer based on every rumor, who's coming, who's leaving, and all that good stuff. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Do you have any final words?
Just thanks for having me here. It's been great to talk to you.
You too, man.
Your channel.
Yeah.
So I'll see you in the next one, man.
Yeah, man. Also, we are doing these podcasts every week, as much as possible, at least. So this week is on my channel. Last week was on his. Next week is on his, and then we'll just keep alternating. So subscribe to him if you like these podcasts, and stay tuned.
Sure, man.
All right. Thank you for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.
See you.
See ya.
Nice.
Sick.